Our speaker today is Mr. Chris Heil. He's the president and CEO of the Champion Solutions Group, which is an IT consultancy group. He began his career with the same company as a sales representative in 1986 and rose through the ranks to become the president and CEO. Over the years, he has become a driving force behind the organization's development of key strategic alliances and solution portfolio. It's his vision and innovativeness that catapulted the company up the ranks to become a $100 million organization, one of the most respected solution providers amongst top technology manufacturers, including IBM, Microsoft, VMware, and NetApp. Over the past 2 decades, Mr. Heil's main focus has been that of mergers and acquisitions, as well as innovative product development and the associated go-to-market strategies. He's the original founder and is an active member of the board of Managed Maintenance, Inc., a software as a service provider and consulting firm that utilizes their award-winning OneView portal to help the IT channel and its customers manage their IT maintenance. Chris is also the original founder and chief strategist behind one of the original storage cloud providers, Storage Access Bluepoint. During the course of a few short years, he had raised $20 million and took that company public on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and now it has recently been acquired by Pomeroy. More recently, Chris has led the acquisition of Message Ops and continued product development and worldwide launch of its premier software as a service platform, 365 Command. 365 Command is built on Microsoft Azure and is currently helping to manage over 1 million seats of Microsoft Office 365. After achieving this phenomenal milestone, 365 Command and other message ops of 365 utilities were sold to Kaseya. Additionally, Chris spearheaded the purchase of Allware, Inc.'s asset to further expand message ops Microsoft Cloud capabilities. Combining Champion and Allware's intellectual property and its human resource capital will deepen Champion's skills in their application development, EMS, and Azure practices. Now, Champion Solutions Group and its associate companies have won numerous awards and accolades, including Microsoft's Rookie of the Year, Microsoft's Cloud Partner of the Year, VMware's Infrastructure Virtualization Partner of the Year for the Americas, Top 100 Cloud Service Providers, and Software Business Journal's Ultimate CEO Award in 2013. While Chris is actively engaged in the strategic direction of the Champion Solutions Group, he makes time to serve on several advisory councils for tech companies, as well as some of the world's foremost chief executive leadership organization, providing guidance and leadership to other executives and managers. So please put your hands together.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, that's good. That was all a lie. Everything that was there was a lie. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for writing that. That was really good. So I'm an FAU grad, and I'm really happy to be asked back. I've done this a couple times, and it's pretty cool, really, to be truthful with you. I really like it and coming back. So what type of majors do we have? Is it all finance, or we have sales and marketing and business? So sales and marketing, raise their hand. Anybody doing like a business administration? Yeah. Finance? Most finance? All right. Okay, got it. A little spread out of both. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the company that I have worked with for a long time. I'm going to tell you about some of the lessons I've learned. I'll share those with you guys. What are you going to get out of today? Well, I really believe that you're going to get out some of the things that took me a lot to learn. So I'm hoping that it will shortcut what I've learned over the many years working and help you guys get there quicker without stumbling as much, if that's okay. I'd like to keep it open. I don't want to. I'd love to have questions. As we go along. Is that okay with you?
Of course.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, just stop me. And we'll go through it. And I don't know how long the class is supposed to be, but hopefully we won't be here too long, and I don't think we will be. I don't have too many slides. That's good, so we can clap for that, right? Not too many slides. Yeah, exactly. I like the guy in the middle. Yeah, that's right, no slides. So anyway, so I'm going to give you just a little overview of Champion Solutions Group. So Champion Solutions Group is a group, right? So it's a group of companies, and what we did here. So just real quick, we've been around for 35 plus years. We have about 110 employees. 60 plus of them are engineers. We have no debt, and that's a great thing. And you're probably asking, well, why is that? And the reality of it is I don't know, I never really wanted to be married to a mortgage, whether it's on my house or on my car or anything else. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have a lot of debt. I just felt that I have a lot of other challenges and I have a lot of other things on my mind. And I have been challenged by some of my other CEO friends of why don't you take on debt to grow faster and do more things. The reality of it is there's no right or wrong answer to it. I think you as an individual have to figure out, there's more to life than just business. And if you like that extra stress, or if it doesn't bother you, then you probably should take on debt. But I just haven't. So if you're asking yourself, people in finance, why haven't you leveraged yourself more? I just don't like it. I just don't have the spine. Would that be a good one? Spine? I don't have the spine for it. I just don't want to do it. But I do have a $20 million line of credit, and I would just tell you this much. First person you paid, people lived through a hurricane here? How many people lived through a hurricane, right? Okay. So living through a hurricane is a big deal, okay? And you got to be prepared for this. And the first thing you got to do is who you got to pay first. Who you got to take care of first? What? Exactly. You got to take care of your employees first. You have to make sure you take care of your employees first. You know what you need to do if you're in a thing of responsibility? Take a lot of cash out of the bank. Make sure you have cash on hand. You don't see that too often these days, but make sure you have cash on hand because you got to take care of your employees, and you never know what they're going to need. And cash, green money, is something that you should need. But as soon as you take care of your employees, make sure you make payroll. I remember I was on the phone with my CFO, and the banks, we had nothing. It was bad, right? I mean, it was nothing. But we made payroll. We got everybody their money. But the second thing we had to do is the creditors. Line of credit. They don't care, okay? They might play nice and everything. A few weeks goes by, they want their money. So just remember that as well. Everybody can play nice until they get the sale. Then they get the sale, then the reality happens. 15 years worth of audited financials. So you can say, man, you're a small, relatively small company, audited financials. Why are audited financials important, especially finance people? Why? Yes, sir.
They're actual factual financials, they're not phony. They've been checked by someone.
Yes.
Integrity.
Right there.
Transparent.
Yes. Everybody was right. Okay, the integrity piece, the factual. When I'm doing business, anybody heard of a company called XM Satellite Radio? Might have heard of them. Yeah. Pretty cool. I was there, right, Lisa? We were there when they gave birth to this idea. We were there when they launched a satellite called Rock and another satellite called Roll. And when you listen to that, you can say, I spoke to that guy, Chris. And we designed, every time you listen to that, we design, architect, and manage all of that storage that is streaming. It's hundreds of petabytes worth of storage that's streaming. But I remember it was a big thing to them that we had audited financials. It was a big deal to them. And while it might cost us $20,000 a year or whatever it might be, it does mean something these days. People trust but verify, and to have audited financials is a big deal. And I remember, how many people have heard of Arthur Andersen? Anybody old enough to hear of those guys? Okay, you heard what happened to those guys, right? I mean, yes, and now they're Accenture. Back when they were Arthur Andersen, they got thrown in jail and for bad bookkeeping and bad practices, but yet they were criticizing me, and they are the ones that ended up in jail. So interesting. Leading edge IT systems. Yes, I'm in the IT business, but I have to tell you, I really believe that IT helps increase productivity, reduce costs, and mitigate risks. And IT is the differentiator. Even though it's my core business, I have seen companies that leverage it and have gone a lot further than those that don't. And I would just really recommend that. And when you're interviewing for a company or talking to them, ask them about their IT. How much do they take it for granted? Or do they see it as a competitive advantage or a necessary evil? Competitive advantage or necessary evil? You guys, the millennials coming out into the workforce, you expect things. And let me just tell you, corporate enterprises are not there. I mean, you guys expect to have things quickly. You want to share and collaborate and communicate. And trust me, that's why I'm in business. There's a lot of that not going on. But when you're asking, I would ask the question, how good are their IT systems? We're focused on virtualization and cloud technologies. We do a lot of data management solutions, as I mentioned with XM Satellite Radio. Pretty easy. I mean, it's a big deal, big name, but pretty easy technically. You write it once and read many. We did HBO Go. When you look at HBO Go, we did all of that as well. We helped manage that, but again, pretty easy. We have about 700 active customers. These are people who we actively done business with. You know, every year. Yeah, every year within 12 months we're actively engaged in 700 consulting practice engagements, 22 locations in 11 states, predominantly east of the Mississippi. Yeah, so it's great. You know, I can tell you, it's good to come home to Florida. I mean, I love Cleveland, but it's good to get back to Florida. That's all I'm going to say. I loved Cleveland. I was just there, but it's interesting. One other thing I would just like to say about this is, if I had to do it all over again, the reality of it is that everybody's read the book, The World is Flat? Yes, okay, great book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. I mean, you're going to look at it and say, of course, you know, because it was written years ago. But right now, 30% of our business is international. 30% of our business is international. We never even see the customer. We talk to them, we Skype with them, but we never go on site anymore. That whole concept of let's go shake hands and, you know, belly to belly, I mean, yeah, occasionally you need to do it, but we have done, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars over the years with zero interaction as far as face-to-face. It's all over the web and all over Skype and everything else. And it's, you know, if you would have said that to me 10 years ago, I would have said you're crazy, but it really happens. So the whole concept, I think, of brick and mortar, is not as important as it used to be. I was just at AT&T headquarters in Dallas, and they have completely decimated all of their building structure. Everything's open. It looks like a massive Starbucks. You know, 20 floors of Starbucks. All open space. Everybody is out in the middle. There's no offices. It's all built around commuter. So the whole mobile workforce is a major thing. So at headquarters, we have a lot of pre and post sales, technical support, project management, orders, movements, and then out in the regions, you can see what we have there. So who do we represent? So we work with some of the largest companies in the world and from IT. So we, you know, architect, design a lot of solutions for companies. And then lately, we've been developing product, which I'm really happy about. So let me talk a little bit about innovation. Can I just talk about innovation just for a few minutes? Okay, so I forgot the name of the customer, but just got done selling this customer, I don't know, must have sold him $2-3 million worth of equipment. And he calls me up, I mean, screaming at me. I mean, screaming. F-bombs, the whole thing, right? And he's up to me, he goes, God damn it, my systems are down. Okay, I can't conduct business, I can't conduct commerce, the systems are down. I called up IBM and they told me, you know, I wanted them to come out and fix it, and IBM said, you're out of warranty and you didn't buy a maintenance agreement. So I'll come out, but it's going to be $575 an hour, minimum of 2 hours, plus the parts. And trust me, when you're not under a maintenance agreement, you think the parts are cheap? No, they kill them. But the customer would do anything because he had to get back up. So this guy laid into me. I mean, he really laid into me. And I said, you're right. I said, how on earth could I have not thought of, how can we prevent this from happening again? So, little education here. Take lemons and turn them into lemonade. So I thought about this for a while. I'm like, well, how many pieces of equipment have we sold? Tens of thousands of pieces of equipment? You know, I look around here, everything comes with a warranty, right? Everything. And after the warranty's up, then you got to put it under a maintenance agreement. So I went out and I was like, well, how can we keep track of all of this? So I, sitting around having a couple beers with some guys, I'm like, man, I think I could make some money on this idea. So I think, really we talked about, a little bit just seek to understand before trying to be understood. So I really tried to put myself in this guy's shoes, or why is he so mad? But what I ended up doing is I ended up developing a product called OneView, which is a software as a service built in the cloud. And it's great. I was like, okay, now when I sell something, I load it up into the portal, and then it tracks everything. And then before it comes off a warranty, it sends me a reminder to tell me, hey, this is coming off a warranty. You might want to go sell them a maintenance agreement, an extended maintenance agreement. So I come up with this great idea, and we're like, well, let's go out and sell it. Well, Jesus, now we have millions and millions of items. Anybody from New Jersey in here? Anybody? New Jersey? Borgata. Okay, one girl. That's it. That's it. You're not representing here. So there's a company up there, a great thing in Atlantic City called the Borgata, beautiful hotel. So, I was just focused on computer equipment. Like, we'll follow all of this stuff. Well, next thing you know, they put like 3,000 TVs on it, to track all their assets. Then we had hospitals say, can I put all my mammogram equipment and my x-ray equipment and my lab equipment up on there? And this thing is just exploding. So we had to spin it off, right? And we spun it off. It was getting so big that I had to spin it off and get our own CEO. And we're just kicking ass. But this all started from somebody screaming at me. So I guess what I would like to say to you guys is take everybody who's like yelling at you, because you're going to get yelled at eventually, because it just happens, and seek to understand. And then try to figure out, because if you're getting yelled at, there's a pain, and it's a bad one, because this guy's freaking out. And the reality of it is I would say, is there other people who have the same pain? And then try to figure out how to execute on it. It cost me, I'd say all in, $500,000 to build this platform. Everything, $500,000. One time, $500,000. You can go out and buy a house for $500,000. I mean, it's not, but right now, that business is throwing off, it's $5 million a year in revenue, every year. And you know how much margin you have in that? It's great. Finance guys, you have you have a cost of building at $500,000, and I'm charging per device getting put onto my machine, and it's just coming in. It's just a great idea. So the reality of it is, I don't know what it has to do with any of this, but except that right now Lenovo just signed a big contract with us because they want us to manage all theirs, and so is HP. But all of these people say, yeah, we want to make sure our end users never end up in the same predicament where they're down. We want to notify them. So it's cool. So next time you get a notification about a warranty, it's probably going to come from me, I hope, with their name on it. All right, any questions about this? So you got a feeling for what we do? So we architect, design, implement technology solutions for small and medium enterprises all the way up to the Fortune 500. Make sense? Got a feel for it? Okay, great. All right, so enough about the company. I'm just going to talk a little bit. Right, Kim, is that okay? Does everybody know Kim Graham? How awesome is she? She's just great. I love Kim Graham. Anyway, so...
Hey, Chris, introduce her.
Oh, so Kim Graham is important. She is the president and CEO of the Tech Runway, right over here on the, where the airport is over here? And a great incubation, how would you say it? Incubation lab or? Accelerator. Good word.
So we're a hub.
You're a hub.
That educates, mentors, provides space, and funding for startup companies.
You hear that? All of that. Okay, and this is on your campus. And I mean, it's so great, and it's right here in Boca Raton. If you haven't taken advantage of this, please do. I mean, they're just, the second year in?
We launched October 2014. It's a $4.5 million investment, and we provide grant funds for startups.
Grant funds for startups, mentorship, collaboration with local business people, but it's right here on your campus. Look, get with Kim. I mean, it's really, really awesome. I wish I had that when I was, at FEU. But now I'm going to participate and help.
That's right.
That's what I'm going to do. So let's just talk about some of the challenges that I've come across in management and, raising money and managing different companies and things like that. Is that okay with you guys? Can we do that? No question. Because the business I'm in, it's business, right? I mean, you know, you're buying stuff, you're selling stuff, and you make a margin, and you're consulting, you're doing different things. So I'm going to just talk a little about the challenges that I've seen. None of these have to do with Lisa, though. They're just in general. So here's what is going on, I feel, constantly. Customers will raise the bar, okay? They'll raise the bar. They want more for less. I've never heard a customer say, hey, can you charge me more for it? They want it less. As a matter of fact, they come to expect. They come to expect, especially in IT. Jesus, haven't you heard of Moore's Law? Moore's Law, right? Every 18 months, product gets half the price, twice as small, and twice as fast. We've seen it in technology, right? It's just, so imagine being in my business. I got to keep raising my revenue, but it's half the price. But that's what they want, right? They want more for less. Now, I have my employees, or you'll have your employees when you're out in the workspace. What do they want? They want more. They want more money. They want better benefits, more vacation, more snacks in the kitchen, more tools to play with, okay? The best laptops, the best technology. I want tickets to games. I want to be the best thing. But I'm like, but the customer doesn't want to pay anymore. And you want more. Yeah, I know, because it's a tough workspace, and you better pay me. And so then, you know, and I'm like, but the problem is they expect to raise, but they bring the same value. So I go to people, how long have you been here? And they go, oh, I've been here 10 years. I said, you have 10 years of experience? Oh, yeah. I said, I don't think so. I think you have 1 year of experience done 9 times over. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You can laugh, but that's the challenge that you guys are going to have to address. Yeah, I don't have 10 years of experience. I got 1 year of experience done 9 times over. That's the challenge, okay? And so how do you overcome this? And here's the thing. You must create a culture of innovation, speed, and execution. This is what will separate the great from the good, okay? And this is hard. This is hard because you guys are going to be leaders of departments, companies, and who knows, nations. But this is a challenge that I'm telling you we address all the time. So you know what you do? You know what I've learned, Kim? I have learned that people like fun. They like to make things fun. So Lisa, remember we did something we call rapid improvement games. You know what rapid improvement games are? Anybody hear of it? No? So let me tell you what a rapid improvement game is. We challenge and we make it a game. Trust me when I tell you, how many people have heard of gamification? Anybody hear of gamification as a way of learning? Right? Nobody likes change. Matter of fact, people hate change, but they love learning, at least some of them. But gamification is a big thing. Look it up. Take a look. It's a big thing on how people are having to learn, how people change, and how people innovate. So you improve a rapid improvement game. Very simple thing. You come out and you come up with a name. And what was one we had in accounting? Or was it Searching for Gold was the name of the game. Searching for Gold was the name of the game. And we came out and said, okay, whoever can save us this much money, gets points, and then we're gonna. It doesn't cost much, but we'll go to a concert or something for your department. And we did this game, and you really challenged the people to do it, to think outside the box and say that the status quo is boring, the status quo sucks, and if you want the status quo, don't work here. Okay, because it's beat. If you want to come, it's beat. Let me just tell you a quick story before I get back to the rapid improvement game. Can I tell? So I'm walking down the street. I'm at a construction site. There's 3 guys doing the exact same thing. Exact same thing. I go to the first guy, I go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm breaking rocks. What do you think I'm doing? Go to the second guy, I go, what are you doing? Doing the same thing as the first guy. I'm making a living. Go to the third guy, I go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm helping my team build a temple. Okay, which one do you want working for you? Which one are you going to be out in the workforce? You understand what I'm saying? You're going to build a temple, you're there to break rocks or collect a paycheck. So here you want people building a temple, right? And so in this rapid improvement game, we're coming out, how can we save money? Now, I don't know anything about what's going on. I'm over here, vision, strategy. The young lady at the front desk, right, comes up in this game and she says, at the end of it, and we still have it in place today, this was 6 years ago, She goes, you know what? At the end of the quarter, I get all of these FedEx envelopes coming in with everybody's receipts, from their restaurants, bars, other things, if you know what I'm saying. And, they're all coming in for the end of the quarter. Why the end of the quarter? Why the end of the quarter? Who knows why? Because if they don't send their receipts in, I'm not going to pay you your expense check. And that's it. So they have to, of course, everybody waits to the last day, and everybody overnights them. So she was smart enough. She goes, oh, this rapid improvement game, I really want to go to this concert. So I'm going to sit there. She came out, and she added up over the month, on the quarter, how many people were overnighting their expenses. And she came back, and she says, well, we're spending $2,000 on overnight packages so they can send their expense reports in. I go, are you serious? And I go, yeah, she's sad. I'm like, okay, here's somebody who's not satisfied with the status quo. She wanted to win the game, and I'm saving $2,000 a month. Forever. I think it was Barry Manilow. Who knows? I don't know who it was. But it wasn't that good, to be truthful with you, whoever the game was. But do you understand what I'm saying? You got to challenge the people that the status quo is boring, and you have to, as leaders, you guys coming out of here, okay, that you must innovate. Okay, here, it was great. We have something we call the innovation board. How much it cost me? $50. Oh, crazy, right? Put it out in our kitchen, and we said, anybody's got a question, or and has something, and wants to ask people's opinions, just put it up here on the board. Well, our CFO comes out, and she says, well, here's our invoice. How would you make this invoice better? And she slaps it up against the board and rolls it out there. Well, next thing you know, people are looking at it. Well, within a week, there's 40 suggestions on how to make our invoicing better. This is what I'm talking about. These might be small things, but small things take care of the small stuff. The big stuff will take care of itself. These are the things you think, constantly challenging people, right? The status quo is boring. Because at the end of the day, I don't mind paying somebody more money that comes up with an idea, but if all she did was sit there and say, I'm just going to answer the phone and open up the FedEx and don't give a damn and say, really question the status quo. You guys feeling what I'm saying? You know the difference? Be that leader. Be that leader that inspires others to make a difference. Be that leader. I'm going to jump ahead because I know it's a few slides, but I'm not going to move the slides. I'm crazy. But you'll figure, I'm sure you'll follow me. How many people read the book? There's a book out. You have to read it if you haven't read it. It's an easy read. It's called The Great Game of Business. Anybody? Great Game of Business? Okay. Great book. Great book. It's not as intellectual as the books here at FAU, but it's a great book. And what did I tell you before? People like games. They like winning. They want to participate. And this book is called The Great Game of Business. And what it taught, very simple, was that unlike you guys, would you believe, or let me ask you a question, do you think that every single person at Federal Express understands how to read a balance sheet or an income statement? Nope. Do you think that the normal person working at Barnes & Noble, what the hell's that? Give me something else new. Whole Foods, I don't know. So do you think that they understand how their work affects the bottom line? The answer is no, they don't. Be that guy that comes out and teaches them. Because when people understand how the company makes money, how their business unit contributes to either the revenue or the bottom line, everything changes. All of a sudden, they really understand that I can make a difference. So let me ask you this. $1 saved, is that the same as $1 worth of revenue? No, absolutely not. One of my business, we bring 5% to the bottom line, one of our businesses. 5%. It's not, it's terrible, as a matter of fact. I hate that business. But the reality of it is that that's what we do. But we do $60 million, right, to bring 3 to the bottom. So if I can save $100,000, it represents a ton. And the savings goes right to the bottom line, right, guys? Girls, right? It goes right to the bottom line. How many sales would that equal? Like like 50 times the sales to get to equal the same 100 grand. And when you start teaching people that and understanding that, hey, by saving on the FedEx, because I wasn't paying attention to the young lady up front with the FedEx bills coming in, I just paid the bill. I didn't question it. But she saved us all this money, man, and over time. So question the status quo. Be that leader that challenges people to not accept the status quo and challenge it. You guys be that person when you come on board to do that. Okay? Be that person who wants to build a temple, not collect a paycheck or break rocks. And people will be able to tell. Any questions on any of that? Okay, cool. Again, leadership is about reinvention. And people who cannot reinvent themselves must be content with borrowed postures, secondhand ideas, and fitting in instead of standing out. Warren, whatever his last name is. Okay then, Bennis. I don't think he pronounces it that way. I think it's Benis. Anyway, the point being is that you got to reinvent. Leadership is about reinventing yourselves and never remaining stagnant, being stagnant. How many people have heard of BlackBerry? Okay, I mean, let's look at BlackBerry. I mean, here's a company that was at the pinnacle. And how many years ago? It wasn't even that long ago, was it?
10 years.
Maybe 10 years? Not even that long, right? 93, 94. These guys were at the pinnacle. There was nobody bigger than BlackBerry in business. Nobody. Everybody, you know, they call it a crackberry. You couldn't get rid of the damn thing, and you were just there. And these freaking executives were drinking their own Kool-Aid. They were. They're like, we're the best. They're beating their chests. They discounted Apple as a toy. It's a toy. Never come into business. Let it be the consumer thing. But it's never getting it into business because we're BlackBerry. Man, they were comfortable, weren't they? Now what happened? They are gone. I mean, they are just gone. Who did they just buy the other day? Good. They bought Good Technologies. It's not a good investment. It was a stupid investment too. But the point is that, you know, you have to have a burning boat mentality. And that's what I would recommend all of you. You always have a burning boat mentality, even though the boat might not be burning. Okay? Always question the status quo. Always question who's the guy coming around the corner. Always, because you know there's somebody coming out of this class here that's going to kick my ass, and I got to be ready. Okay, you got to be ready. Scott Adams, you guys heard of him? You might have known this building here, Scott Adams, the Adams Center. So Scott and I, you've heard this story. So Scott and I were we went to school together here at FAU. And I cheated off of him during, anybody take QMB? QMB, anybody? Did he still have QMB? I'm joking, he cheated off of me. No, it's, but QMB, Quantitative Methods of Business, was like an advanced statistics class, which was tough. But, you know, and I went out and I started this business with Champion, and I gave birth to this new thing, and we were growing. And I remember Scott coming over to me and saying, hey, Chris, can I sublease some space from you? I have this idea. And I was like, what is this stupid idea? Go ahead, how much space do you need? I just need about 2,000 square feet. 3 months later, hey man, can I take some more of your space? I need more of your space. And next thing you know, he just bought me out of my whole lease. And what a grand idea this guy had, right, of hosting websites. I mean, now it's like passé, but then he got bought out for millions. But the point being is that the status quo and not a burning boat. Here's all these people that were doing things not like Scott, and Scott kicked them all and put a lot of them out of business. They were like, oh yeah, sell servers. And he said, you don't need to buy any more servers. Let's just host it all in the cloud. He came up with the cloud, basically. The other thing that I found is that great leaders, like Lisa, they delegate results, not literally tasks. Okay? So, I think that's really important, because you can say, well, I delegate. Well, I delegated, well, go do this, go do this, go do this. Great leaders really delegate results and make sure that, you hold the people accountable and responsible to make that happen. And it took me years to learn this. My chairman, just scream at me and give me, he was, but I really learned that ultimately he didn't do anything. I had to do it all, but he did delegate it all to me, and he expected results. And I think Lisa, you would say the same for me, that I expect results. And I think just as you mature into the business world, I would say that's a big thing. People want to be held accountable. They don't want you looking over their shoulders. Now, you got to measure. You can't manage what you don't measure, right? And you got to keep the person from failing. But the reality of it is that do yourselves a favor. Really delegate the results rather than just different tasks. Does that make sense to everybody? I found that. Any questions on that? Okay. So this is the great game of business that I took you through. So I don't need to go through that. Rapid improvement games. So a few other things, lessons learned. Anything bought right is half sold. You didn't have to go through all this finance to learn this, did you? Anything bought right is half sold. We make, you can say, well, what are you guys? We sell a lot. But we make just as much money on the buy side in making sure that you buy things right. Through your life, I've bought boats, cars, houses, condos, and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment. And I found that if you buy it right, it's half sold. And I think people just take that for granted, that everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. And just remember that, okay? So anything bought right is half sold. And it's ridiculous what's happening in our business world right now is that they have these professional, buyers that come in, and all they do is this is their mantra, right? They come in and say, hey, listen, go get your best deal on these 10,000 TVs for your hotel. When you get the best deal and you think you got the best deal, give it to me, and then I will take 50% of the spread that I'm going to save you. It's true. What a cottage industry is part of. You think you're a good buyer? Go ahead, get your best deal, and then after you're done, bring it to me. I'm going to go out and I'll split the savings with you. This is happening everywhere because they realize that anything bought right is half sold. You got to buy it right, and if you buy it right, you'll sell it. Does that make sense? So a couple stories around this. And you got to understand the bigger picture, right? You got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. So I was selling an IBM, and there was mainframes, which are still around today, believe it or not. I know people don't think so, but they're still around, okay? And this is back in the day when mainframes were massively popular. And I took advantage of IBM. I really did. And I don't feel bad about it, okay? Because that's what business is. You see an opening, you take advantage of the opening. So I remember I was selling peripherals. Those are terminals, dumb terminals. Dumb terminals, they don't even think for themselves. They hook up to the mainframe, and then everybody communicates with the mainframe. It's not even a PC. And I remember sitting there, and I'm like, okay, so this mainframe, $3 million was this mainframe. That's how much it cost. And they had these dumb terminals that you needed to boot it, to turn it on. It was like the key to the car. So I call up one day, and I said, hey, I called up IBM. I said, hey, I got a customer who wants to buy 700 of these 3197s. They said, 700? I'm like, yeah, 700. Well, Jesus, we only have 400. Oh, they only have 400 of them. Oh, they only have 400 of them. And it is the key to the car. So I said, how long is it going to take you to build 300 more? Oh, he said, geez, it's going to take at least 3 months. What would a smart FAU student do? What would you do? You buy them all. And guess what I did? I bought them all. Now, here's this little bastard down in Boca Raton, Florida, who just bought all these things, right? Okay? $3 million machine. Okay, and I bought these dumb terminals for $1,000 a piece. That's what list price was. So I bought them. I negotiated, of course, and I got them for like $700. But they sold these $3 million machines to Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these people, and they couldn't turn them on because I had all the inventory. What do you think I sold them for? What do you think? How much? $7,000 to $10,000 a piece. Supply and demand, baby. FAU taught me that. That's it, man. QMB. But the point being is anything bought right is half sold. Understand the bigger picture. Understand what's going on. No matter what job you take, understand. If you take a job, where are they buying it from? Always find that out. I worked in the restaurant business as a bartender for my whole life. I knew exactly where we bought the liquor from. I knew exactly how much we paid per bottle. and exactly what we pay for glasses, everything. I just knew it. So always be inquisitive, because anything bought right is half sold. And understand the bigger picture of how you can take advantage of that. And look at the supply chain. How long does it take you to produce more of this? And because remember, supply and demand is always a big thing. Always a big thing. We still make money on that today, don't we? To this day, we'll go out and we'll buy inventories of stuff, knowing that it might take months to build, as long as the demand's high. Understanding the bigger picture, just like I told you, which is a bigger thing. I just cannot tell you about this from, this is on so many levels. As a manager, as you guys become managers and leaders in your organizations, there's so many times I just want to, like when somebody comes into my office and wants to either complain about something or tell me their problems or their challenges or whatever it might be, I have to catch myself doing this, but try to put yourself in their shoes. Listen attentively. Don't be looking at your phone. I'm joking. Your phone or on email. Listen, and not listen to say, okay, I can't wait for this person to shut up so I can now talk. Actively listen, and seek to understand what is their true problem or what are they trying to say, especially as if it's a counterpoint to what you believe in. If I come out and I say, Lisa, let's go this direction, and Lisa comes in, she shuts the door and she says, Chris, I want to talk to you about your thoughts. Instead of me getting, putting your dukes up and wanting to fight, all I can tell you is seek to understand before trying to have her understand where I'm coming from. Try to really understand that. That's what great leaders do. I mean, I didn't come up with it, but man, I've learned to come and live with it. Seek to understand before trying to be understood. Whether it's a personal challenge that somebody's going through, a business challenge, or whatever it is. And then especially when you listen to the customer, right? Listen to the customer. Does that make sense to everybody? This is a big one. Seek to understand before trying to be understood. And I try to listen to my kids that way too, and it's tough because I'm like, you don't understand anything. But I try to listen to them. Very good one. Okay, you're working for a business, and you guys, how many people got full-time jobs right now working in finance? Okay. How many people have ever called in to your business and gone through their phone? Good, a couple. And actually go through the phone tree and see how bad that phone tree sometimes is. It's terrible. I mean, maybe yours is awesome. Maybe it is the best thing. But what I would suggest that you do, working for the companies that you are right now, you want to make some brownie points, or not brownie points, but don't stand for the status quo, is look at every point of contact that a customer will have with your business. Every single one. Incoming phone call, outgoing email, my website, my Twitter account, my invoice. No matter what it is, look at the points of contact that your company has with its customers, or whoever its customers might be. It might be the employees, because it's hard to find great talent, and you want to do that. We just got done doing, I hated my point of reference in our careers page, so I just spent all this money redoing my whole careers page, and I'm looking forward to launching. But look at all of that. Look from an outward in. And I'm telling you, too many times, the CEO, I know me, I'm too busy working in the business rather than working on the business, right? Because you got to work on the business as a leader, not in it. Right? Spend more time working on it, not in it. And look at the touch points. And I am telling you, you'll come out and say, hey, Mr. Boss, I went out, we have 17 touch points with our customers. I wanted to bring these to your attention. I wanted to make sure they're up to your expectations. And let's review them. I'm telling you, it'll go a long way. But outward in approach is very, very important. Because the reality is you only have one chance to make a first impression. And with the world as it is today, where everybody knows about you before you even you walk into a room. Oh, I know about you, Chris. I've looked you up here, and here. I know exactly this, what you like to eat, this, and this. So you got to make sure it's there. So look for an outward in for your businesses, but more importantly too, for yourselves. Okay? Make sure everything's there. Be careful. Social media is great, but it's also a killer, man. I'm telling you. All right. So we talked about one of the companies. So I bought a company, great group of guys. They were a company called MessageOps, and Microsoft has a product called Office 365. It's the fastest growing product they ever brought to market, ever. It's growing like a weed, and it's great, and I enjoy surfing that wave in, and it's great. So they came out with this. We came out with this product that made it easier to use this great product from Microsoft, and was called 365 Command. And you guys are so much smarter than I am on this stuff, and a lot of the generation that I am in. But I always was like, God dang, man, I got to make money on this. And I had people saying, really, do we need to make money on it? I'm like, yeah, don't we? I mean, because that's what they taught me here at FAU. They don't make money. So I was like, let's make money. But then what I found out really is that really it's how do we acquire the customer? So what we did is we gave it away, right? So we gave it away. We're like, let's just give it away. It cost me, I don't know, $600,000, I think, to build it or something. 600 grand. But we gave the product away, and you guys, this whole thing, the whole freemium market, right? It's you give a little bit away and you get. So the whole thing is with this thing is you remember as you walk into the world, acquire the customer at any expense, okay? I would say almost any expense. And then engage in conversation. If you acquire them and don't engage them in conversation or engage them in a transaction, then you're going to fail. But if you can acquire them, engage with them, and have a conversation, then you'll figure out how to monetize it. We had well over 1 million, 2 million, I don't know, whatever the hell it was, 1.5 or something, million people on our platform. And by giving it away, and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. I feel like Google or something. It's like amazing. I didn't expect it. And if you asked me, did you really expect it to happen? I would have said, of course. But the reality is I didn't. It came out, big success. And then we engaged the customers. We started monetizing that engagement, and then we sold it to somebody for a lot of money, which was great. But again, if I thought about just like pricing it and charging for it, I think it would have had a completely different outcome. So what I would ask you guys is be the guy that challenges whether you should sell it right now and make money, or figure out how to acquire customers. Then let's figure out how to engage them. We'll figure out how to monetize it later. I know it sounds like counterintuitive, but in this world right now, it seems that's what's not what's there. Educate, enable, and execute. Don't think that people understand what you're saying. Your downline, the people that you're going to be managing, they're going to be going like this. Yes, boss. I got it. Yes, sir. They don't always get it. I've come to learn this. Okay, please. You know what you do? You know how the best way to figure out how to understand if somebody understands what you're saying? It's very simple. Here it is. What was it? Ask them to repeat it. Simplest thing. But as a manager, if you could say, you just got somebody, hey, can you tell me what you heard? Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Can you tell me what you heard? 10 years worth of management right there. It took me 10 years to learn that. Lisa, can you tell me what you just heard? How often do I say that? I say it all the time. Because it's important that we understand that we're all on the same page, that we're thinking with one mind, speaking with one voice into this very important issue. Think with one mind, speak with one voice. Please tell me what you heard. And then you can have a conversation saying, again, seek to understand. That's not what I meant. That's what you heard, but that's not what I meant. And you can go through that. And then you educate them and enable the people that you work for you to win. Want them to win. You know who the most successful people are? The people that care for other people's success. Absolutely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And then execute. Everything's great, but if you can't execute, it's worthless. Anybody hear of Scrum meetings? Scrum? So please, okay, 2, 3. Lisa? Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I would look it up. Great. It gave birth out of the programming technologies of how people would keep up on changes in programming. But it's really moved into a management field on how to get things done. And I would recommend Scrum, S-C-R-U-M, Scrum meetings, Scrum methodologies. Falls under agile teaching. But look into that. But it's a great way to make sure that people are executing on what they learned. This is without a doubt. Simplicity is a competitive advantage. Okay? It's very easy to make things very hard. It is so easy. But the greatest websites are, 3 clicks and you're done, right? Or whatever it might be. Simplicity is a competitive advantage. If you can't explain to your 15-year-old son, daughter, and have them understand what the hell it is you're doing, redo it. If somebody says, well, can you please explain something to me, and it takes you like 10 minutes, redo it. Everybody who's working for a company right now, I'd question, how complex is it? And people got books. Simplicity is a competitive advantage. It's really, really hard to keep things really, really simple, but it is so big. And the success that we've had, that product that we sold for millions, what we did is we took Microsoft's complexity and we made it really simple, and that's why we had so many people adopt it so quickly. Make sense? Very hard, but look at everything and say, man, if I can make this simple. Say, you have a flow chart of this, right? And they bust out this flow chart that, a bunch of, 400 different steps. Well, how can we bring those 400 steps down to 3? Or maybe that's impossible, but how do we review it? Make sense? Solve for the customer, not the company. This will always benefit in the long run. Again, lessons that I've learned. I'm just trying to wean you through everything that I've learned. I've learned that if I look at our company first and say, oh, this is the best for the company and not necessarily the best for the customer, it always backfires. Always backfires. Solve for the customer. If we can make it great for the customer, it will be great for the company later. And I would challenge you guys to, when you're in your meetings, and again, hopefully you have good management that wants to hear what you have to say and listens to you, but always ask, is this the best thing for the customer first? And you'll be surprised in how often that question's not asked in meetings. It's never asked. As a matter of fact, I do a lot of meetings, and I always bring it up. I'm like, with my customers, I'm like, how's this going to affect your customer? Oh, I don't know. Let's get customer service in here and ask them. And of course, the customer's at the center of the universe. You got to stand out in the sea of sameness. For yourselves as an individual and as a business and as a professional, as a leader, what are you going to do in your business unit when you're working for a company to stand out against everybody in your all of your other peers? There's stuff that's just table stakes, right? I mean, nobody ever runs out and says, oh my God, Lisa, there's toilet paper in the bathroom. Well, of course there is. It's expected that there's going to be that in the bathroom. So don't make a big deal out of it. Okay, and that's the thing. You might come out and say, I know my product, or I know this, I know that, and you're proud of yourself. But the reality of it is, there's 3 million other people that know the same exact same thing. What are you going to do to stand out? Because a lot of people expect that you're going to know this. You understand what I'm saying? What are you going to do? For you personally, for your business unit that you're supporting and the company that you work for. Do things others will not. I just got to tell you, be the first guy to volunteer to do something that other people won't. You'll be recognized. I'll help you stand out in a sea of sameness. I've also found that doing things that other companies will not will make you different. You'll make money at it, and you'll find out quickly if there's an opportunity to make real money at it. And most of the things that is hard. I mean, again, it's taking things that are really hard and making them simple. But that's a good one too. And then more and more of these things these days is based on outcome-based results. Nobody cares anymore about speeds, feeds, this or that. Businesses want to know quickly what's the outcome-based. How is it going to increase my productivity? How is it going to reduce my costs as a business, increase my revenue, or mitigate my risks? And I better see an outcome. If you're in finance, I would question that of sales constantly. Question your sales. Hey, can you please explain to me what we're selling, what the business outcome is for our customer? And if they can't say it in a concise message, in a simple that you can understand, probably the challenge is we need to redo that positioning. Does that make sense, everybody? I've learned this. It took a long time to understand that too. And you can't manage what you don't measure. Lisa can tell you, I measure everything. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't know. And Is it good to manage like, hey, what did you do yesterday? Oh, here, boss, here's what I did yesterday. Here's exactly what I did yesterday. That's great. And then I ask this question like, well, how does that compare to a month ago? Oh, shit, I don't know. Oh, my God. Trailing 12 is probably one of the best indicators, KPIs of anything. The trailing 12 months. We know that we have the standard quarter, we have the standard year. But when you can look at that in a trailing 12 months, because that will, and keep that for years over time, it will take out all the spikes and little things, and you can see it all in a trailing 12 months, saying, okay, if we stop the business right now in the past 12 months, this is what we made or what we did or how many phone calls did we make or whatever it is you're measuring. Trailing 12. That's another great book. Look at Trailing 12. I would just say if you have to insist on that. Yes, sir.
I just want to, I know you said it's okay to ask questions during, so I'll just do it anyway.
Yeah, please.
Even though I will. I'm actually a guy who's really keen on KPIs, key operational metrics also. And the thing that I want to hear from you, if you can answer briefly about it, productivity metrics. A lot of companies are jumping on that bandwagon. How do you view productivity metrics?
Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, how do I review productivity metrics? It's a great question. So again, we go out per department, and I ask them what they believe their, what drives, because at the end of the day, activity breeds results, okay? And if you don't know the activity that's going to breed the right result, then how can you expect the result to happen? Okay, so activity breeds results, but if you're not managing the activity, and you have to have the results. I mean, just because you're out there, I'm doing this every day, but if you're not getting any results, well, I don't care. You got to get the results. But if you don't know the activities. So basically what I do is I ask each department. So, we have a dashboard out to kazoo. Days sales outstanding for AR, inside sales, number of phone calls, number of emails sent, proposals sent, engineers, billable time, and it's a big thing on the productivity side. It's really interesting if you're getting into actually what are you doing today? How do you spend your time?
Yeah, because to me that's a leading indicator of actually, for instance, I'll talk about sales just easily on top line so most people understand. Like if you're a salesperson, right, how many calls did you have, how many interviews, how many meetings did you set up, stuff like that can be a direct leading indicator of your potential revenue.
That's correct.
So what I'm trying to think of is things like maybe you would look at in your business or things that you've experienced that would help, make us understand a little better those types of metrics.
Yeah, so I look at so many metrics, but the reality of it is I look at it by department and what each person's doing. I can't speak for every business, but again, sales is pretty easy, and I don't even look at that. We have 6 stages to our sales, 6 stages to our sales. We have utilization amongst engineers, project management hours. It's ridiculous. And every department and every company's got something different. I would just say there's some really interesting technology coming out that looks across the corporate thing. There's a product called Delve. It's just really becoming out. And really what it does, it's from Microsoft. And what they're doing is they're looking at what's, from a corporate level, what is the underpinnings of what's going on? Like what's the most popular read email that's going around right now? What's the most popular shared PowerPoint presentation? And what's happening at the top level is you can actually see what the social experience is amongst the 5,000 employees that work for you. What's really being said? What's being shared? What's being done? What's the number one expense item? And it's a product called Delve, and it's a big thing from Microsoft that they're giving away, but it's to help look at that productivity, what you're talking about. How much time am I spending doing this, 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 and this? Because everything's time-stamped. Very interesting. Look at it, Delve, D-E-L-V-E. Thank you for a question. And I'm going to go here. All right. And this is, I think, my last slide, I hope. I think. So, all right. In almost everything that you're going to be doing, I think that you'll realize there's going to be 3 gaps that need to be overcome. And again, it's taken me a while to figure this out, but I've used this to position our solutions. But I've also noticed this when I'm managing people or or helping other clients manage their business. But there's, first of all, there's a complexity gap in almost everything that you're out there. And I would suggest that if you can reduce the complexity gap for your employees, making it simpler, if you can reduce the complexity gap for your students, teachers, and make it easier for them to learn, that will have higher learning. If we reduce the complexity gap for the customer, we'll probably have better interaction. But I would just suggest, as you guys as leaders, when you come in, and don't be afraid to write down everything that's complex and realize it and bring it forward, okay? The complexity gap then, automatically what happens, it then generates this like value gap. If, okay, Obamacare, good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. But the point being is that they came onto the website. It was very complex, wasn't it? It was really complex. And while it might have been the greatest value in the world, nobody could use the damn thing. And of course, they had to fix it. That's just a really broad example. But everything that you'll see when you're going into management, just three gaps. I mean, again, you've got a complexity gap. And if it's too complex, there's going to be not enough value. And if there's not enough value on what's happening, you know what you're going to end up with? The next gap. And that's the growth gap. But I am just telling you, no matter what you do, if you walked in and put these three things in front of a customer, a CEO of any business, anywhere, and say, can you talk about the complexity gap that resides within your business units, within the way you communicate with your customers, right? Is that causing a value gap of your products if it's too complex to use? And is there a value gap that people paid 100% for something, but they're only utilizing 10% of it? You're stealing from them, right? You paid $100 for it, but you're only using 10 bucks worth of it. And then what's going to end up happening is there'll be a growth gap. Does that make sense to anybody? Everybody? Good? Okay, a lot of people nodding their heads. But so this is something, and as you guys go out there, I hope that what I went over today and the lessons learned will be helpful for you guys and help you get to where you need to be. That's really all I had. It's probably a little bit early, but I think that's it. So does anybody have any other questions or anything else? I think I ended on an hour here, so if we have let you out early. Yes?
So you talked about being innovative and having employees that are innovative and always trying to be innovative at work, but I feel like, for me at least, it probably holds true for a lot of other people, there aren't very many opportunities to be innovative in the workplace, especially in a corporate setting, and you're often stifled or told not to be innovative.
Yeah, okay, so the question is how can you be innovative in a corporation that doesn't inspire innovation? That was the question. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. I was repeating back what I think I heard. So anyway, so it's a really good question. I'd probably quit. That'd be the first thing. I would leave. No, personally, I swear to God. I mean, anybody who doesn't inspire. I mean, in our organization, I told you about the receptionist who figured out how to save us, literally over years. I can't even count how many hundreds of thousands, probably millions by now. The first thing that I would do is take the Great Game of Business, if you got that book. And in there, we talk about innovation and how it saves things to the bottom line. And what I usually do is you don't throw it in their face. What I would recommend is you take it and you say, look, I've heard like other people in other departments, well, better yet, how about this one? I would say to your manager, I was saying, I was looking at, our competition, and the person that's in my role doing what I'm doing at our competitor is doing things differently. Should I look into that and see how we can inspire to be more in what they're doing? If she says no, then I would absolutely quit. I mean, that's a joke. But if you actually came up and said, hey, look, I'm the accounts payable clerk for ABC Fine Wine and Liquors, and you know what? I found out what the Total Wine account payable clerk is doing and how they approach their payables, and I think there's some interesting things that I'd like to share with you. If they're like, I don't want to share with it and I'd like the status quo, it's time to go. I mean, I hate to say it. There's always great work for great people. God bless you. There's always great work for great people. And I don't listen to anybody who says unemployment and all that. I mean, great work, great people, constantly. Somebody who's stifling that is I don't even know what to say. I don't know. I feel bad for you. I hope that helped, though.
I think that it does. I think for startups, I come from a startup. This is my first corporate job, which is why I think I'm having a little bit of a hard time adapting. But from what I gather, a lot of other people in other departments and on my team, even my direct boss, also all have these issues. So I guess it's just frustrating, and I'm trying to kind of learn how to manage an environment that always tells you, we want to hear from you, we want to see what your ideas are, but then when you have the ideas, they're immediately kind of
Oh,
stopped out.
God. I'm
Can
pretty.
you tell them what your average tenure is at your company?
Yeah, our average tenure is over 12 years now.
40%.
Yeah, 40% is over 12 years, so it's there. But man, I really feel for you on this. I hear what you're saying. I had a guy say to me one time, he said, people at my organization get fired for trying to do something different. I got a great idea. Yeah? You're fired. All I can say about that company is that company's not going to be around long. It's not a company that you should be working at. I mean, and again, I can't tell you, but man, if you're stifled in something like that, I can just feel your energy right here, and it's not a great place to be. You need to find some place that wants to help. Come to work for me. I mean, we are looking for people with ideas. How to better my invoice? How do I save money here? God, it's just like constant. It's just we don't act on every one of them, but we listen. And we take them and we put them in the parking lot, and then we come up with an idea, and then we'll execute. I can tell you a great exercise on how you go through all the great ideas. But anyway, it's a great question, and I don't think there's a right answer. My answer would be, let me tell you what I've heard. Now, you might be making this up, but let me tell you what the accounts payable clerk over at Total Wine's doing on how to approach their payables. I mean, and really? No, I don't want to hear about it. Well, of course, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I feel bad.
Implementation. You do a lot of implementation of technologies for companies that you were saying earlier. Can you talk a little bit about how effective project management works and how you get the project implemented on the time that you give and all the fun stuff that comes with it?
Yeah. So the question is how important or how do you get project management to really be effective in rolling things out? I'm a sales guy. I'm not an engineer. My heritage is sales. I thought project management was stupid, never understood it, never, until we started doing major projects. And I would tell you, project management is probably the most important role of any successful project. Here's the first thing. You need a project manager with a spine that will question that manager, okay? And you're right, we roll out new technology, and we change the way people work, okay? And you got to be on board or you're out. And project management is paramount. So a couple things on project management. First of all, the project manager needs to be able to question not only me, the vendor, but also their own company. That is paramount. They have to have the authority to be able to question, I don't care who it is in the organization, without fear of retribution. And lay that down with the client. So if my project manager questions your top guy, are you going to get mad at the project manager? And you'll hear him mostly say, no, you go ahead and you question my top guy. Top guy might not like it, but you make sure you ask that up front. The second thing is use technology for the actual project management. Don't just wing it. Woohoo! Yeah, I'm going to come in. I'm a hot project manager. I got my way to do it. Again, pick a framework that you're going to work in and stick to that framework, and make sure that you absolutely 100% have it all documented. The key thing in project management is documentation, and to be able to stand up to tough situations.
This whole idea of what gets measured gets done seems to be very popular these days. And my question is, do you think that every desirable outcome is actually measurable?